Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. And the long story short of it is bots. So, alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves something a little bit different here today. It's gonna be my own bot playing a game today. And yes, that is what I've been working on the past week or two while I've not been away. I recently had a trip home, so I started programming a StarCraft 2 bot. Had to take a bit of a step back as I was spending time with family and stuff, but let me tell you, it has been an experience, a very fun one, as someone that is not a good programmer. I am a novice programmer at best, but I've been casting these StarCraft 2 games for the past, gosh, I don't know, couple of years on my channel of just bot games purely for the most part. And so I always have had the idea of programming a bot to try and compete on the ladder, and I finally got around to actually giving it a shot. And it has been a little bit messy, but it's been very fun, a good learning experience for me. And yeah, it's just been an absolute blast. So I guess I'll introduce Crawler in the upper left. That's what I decided to name my bot. My first bot anyway. And I went ahead and I put it on the ladder. We ran into some issues. We ran into some issues that I started solving, and basically as soon as I saw the results coming in. But fortunately, they weren't too major. I played a few games, just sort of like running games right away to sort of see how the bot functioned. And then I went ahead and just sort of looked at the bot doing its natural thing on the ladder. And much like in the StarCraft 2 human ladder, a 12 pool, a basic strategy, which is what I programmed into my bot, works versus some weaker opponents. And that is exactly what my bot Crawler does. I created it off a guide produced by Drekken, who is a very cool member in the SC2AI community. He creates tons of cool guides, videos, that kind of thing. And he's actually, well, sort of involved in the ProBots tournament, which is what spurs a lot of the competition. Anyway, so my bot is called Crawler. It's a Zerg bot at 12 pools, and if you just start up a StarCraft 2 bot, you don't add any code, but you get it so that your bot will launch. Your bot will simply just start mining minerals and do nothing more. So you have to program anything you want it to do, such as building a spawning pool, building a queen, building overlords, building an expansion. Unfortunately, Drekken, he covered most of that in his guide. And it was just a short little guide to almost be a proof of concept, but I wanted to see if I could put it on the ladder and maybe get some more basic features programmed into it. Now, my bot does go up against Ares Random Example, which is, I guess, someone's example bot on the ladder. But, yeah, so my Ling bot is basically going up against someone else's Stalker bot. Their bot already has a bit more functionality than mine in the sense that it actually mines gas. That's not something that I'd programmed into Crawler at this point. This is the very first ladder game that my bot played, and it's just purely Lings versus Stalkers. And this bot author has actually got some very cool movement programmed into their bot. It's actually taking smart steps back between firing intervals, that kind of thing. And yeah, so it's doing very well against my basic 12 pool bot, which is just programmed to attack in waves, to basically build up a certain number of Zerglings, then issue an attack command towards the enemy base. And I don't even have the behavior at this point, I believe, in order to actually resolve, like, a tie, because I'm simply just attacking one location, which means that if the enemy tends to have structures elsewhere on the map, that you're going to, well, it's basically the game's going to end in a draw, because say if I've killed the opponent's main base, but they have a random pylon out on the map, then my bot will simply die. But yeah, I'll probably put a link to Drekken's guide in the description of this video. If you guys want to see more crawler videos where I talk about making a bot and maybe even do like some live streams of working on it, that kind of thing, because this is one of the very first replays. It's a little more advanced. I should do that. I should fire up one of the later replays. I just kind of wanted to give a short little view of my StarCraft 2 bot. This was its very first game on the ladder. I then ran into some issues, and I got a very early nemesis in... I got a very, very early nemesis in this. My Lings, unfortunately, are no match for Ares Random Examples Stalkers, though, as they're just slow Lings against Stalkers that actually have good micro functionality programmed into them. At this point, I do actually have speed mining implemented, I believe. I think I was utilizing... It might not be the most effective speed mining, but I think I was utilizing, like... I've been doing a lot of the programming with AI. It's actually incredible how good ChatGPT is at helping you program, and I don't actually use ChatGPT. I use Windsurf, which has Cascade, which is a built-in AI to the editor, so I actually based it off of Drekken's guide, using the... sort of basically telling it to adapt the Sharpie speed mining for me. And that's exactly what I did, and it seems to work all right. Except I did have some issues with that, with the mining messing up on certain maps, so I had to resolve that. But I lost the first game. That's not a surprise. I did win my second one, but then as you can see, if I pull up this screen here, you'll see that there is a great amount of ties. Let me actually make sure I'm selecting the right one there, but zoom in a little bit. Yes, many, many ties. You guys can see basically games running long, my bot not being able to end the game. So that was one of the first priorities of my bot, was to sort of make it so that it actually had behavior to scour the map, because otherwise a simple bot that is programmed to just build Zerglings and attack the enemy main base will just rally Zerglings to the enemy main base. That's it. And that is obviously very basic functionality, so you got to program in things like looking for... You got to program things in like looking for enemy structures, that kind of thing. I elected to just do a grid search at first, so then basically my bot, after a few minutes of not getting a kill, would start or I believe I actually set it up first to just say after the 10th wave of attack, just start attacking around the map on a grid, and then you'll figure it out basically. But yeah, let me pull up another replay here. This is actually an interesting one we can go over together. Unfortunately, it does seem that the SC2AI website is having some issues, unfortunately. Shout out to everyone that does organize AIarena.net. It's very noticeable when it's having issues, because when it works fine, it works great. So I'll go ahead and actually click on a different replay. Oh, look at this. I believe I actually downloaded this one. Cool. So we can have a look at one of the later replays, more so of my current bot. I just had to change the screen there as I relogged in. But yeah, click that like button, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very different video on the channel, as my bot has been set to start climbing the ladder. It's not doing too bad. We're currently in Division 2 with a 53-54% win rate. So Crawler's actually doing quite well for being a new bot. Now, it's up against a good opponent. Mecha Shark is a very good... It's a very good bot. Well, not as good as its counterpart, Sharkbot, which is one of the top Protoss bots out there. But yeah, Mecha Shark, and I made some changes to Crawler over a bit of time. So like, I changed the spawning pool to be nice and close to the hatchery, so that it couldn't be shot by cannons easily that were placed outside the creep. I figured, hey, that's an easy problem fix, because in order to get where the spawning pool is placed, I simply just got basically the distance towards the enemy base and then subtracted like 5. So then, well, subtracted like an inverse of 5 or whatever. So then basically it would just be 5 hexes away from our base. And then I just shrunk that even further. So the spawning pool's in a nice, safe space for now. My bot, it's still focused on a Ling flood. However, I hadn't programmed in drone functionality as of game number 1. So now it will actually go ahead and produce drones and replace them basically as it builds buildings. It stays on 12 drones, but it will try and stay on 12 drones. I then also made it so that the Lings simply rally between the natural and the main base. So this is to sort of catch any cheeky scouting probes, just to have a bit of very, very basic defensive behavior. Meanwhile, Mecha Shark is a bot with much deeper behavior than my own bot. Like, it's getting up in orbital, it's going for a Reaper, so the bot authors actually got some late game stuff in mind. Meanwhile, I'm just a dirty, dirty cheeser that's going for a Ling flood. Now, you may have seen at the start of the game, Crawler won previous match using army amount 45. I kind of want to see how far you can take a 12 pool bot, and so I have begun trying to get it set up so that my bot will basically build a varying amount of Lings based on previous success, so it kind of learns from previous matches. But as we see, my Lings are coming into Mecha Shark. Mecha Shark says, same as last game, eh? So having a bit of good behavior there. However, my Lings are doing quite well, hitting the natural base. SCVs are rallying in, and I'm just rallying out more Zerglings. I'm not sure if this is that really long replay or not. But anyway, we've got my Lings just constantly coming in here and crashing the gate, so Mecha Shark is in a fair bit of trouble. I did program in behavior so that my bot should be better at searching for enemy structures, more consistent anyway, sort of searching around bases, but there's so much work to do in it. But for now, it's just a simple Zerg Rush bot that is basically abusing Zerg Rushes and bots that are on the ladder that are not prepared to deal with this. Now, I'm curious if my bot actually wins this game or not. We can actually pull up how long the replay is. Yeah, it's a 53-minute replay. And you may be wondering, how on earth is this gosh darn game so long? Well, the answer is, I'm guessing, floating structures. So that's something that you got to take into account when you're programming your bot. Unless you just want to get draws indefinitely, your bot needs to be able to eventually transition, which is something I did program into my bot. However, it's a bit of flawed logic. After 3 minutes of no kills, my bot will go ahead and start transitioning into mutas. But if, say, my opponent just keeps losing like a single SCV or something, my bot will currently not transition, and it'll be kind of stuck almost. Like, we see attack 11, keep sending out more units. I do have a cap on Zerglings of about 100 Lings, so it doesn't like max out on Lings and get stuck. I figure 100 Lings is plenty, which means my bot just is going to spend its money on extra hatcheries all over the map. I don't know what's going on here. I'll have to investigate that. But we do see activating cleanup mode after 3 minutes of no kill on enemy units, so my Zerglings, in not the most efficient way, start to stream around the map. But it's like, this is the kind of logic. I'm just looking for bases. My bot's now also going to spam. That's something I need to fix, because through the debugging I had to get that going, but I do have a Spire on the way. So then let me actually just disable that chat. I apologize about the spam. Eventually the game tells it to shut up and that it's spamming too much. So then my bot eventually begins building mutas to try and track down flying buildings. But as we can see, it takes a while. Sharkbot's also rebuilding inside its main base. My muta even dies, and I keep trying to flood out more Lings. I actually lose a lot of my Lings. And oh, this is actually really interesting. This is a bug in my bot. I wasn't sure how this replay was so darn long, but the answer to that question is that my bot, I'm not sure if I fixed this or not. I can't quite recall, but basically there's a thing programmed into it that once it enters cleanup mode, it's supposed to pause Zergling production, so mutas will be built. But basically that means that my bot will not build anything. It will not go back to Zergling production, which right now would be something very good. And this is actually really bad for my bot. The fact that this that my one gas My one extractor was built in the middle of the map, and so drones are just gonna keep rallying here to try and mine gas. But this Hellion is really causing problems. Meanwhile, Mecha Shark is having its own problems without having proper anti-air. It's got Hellions and SCVs, so my two mutas are doing work. And this is just an example, ladies and gentlemen, of how darn messy bot games can be. Can these mutas kill this Liberator? It's actually quite important for me that they do. Okay, they actually do. And now my bot's spamming again for some reason. I gotta take care of that. Fortunately, mutas regen HP. Mecha Shark has no anti-air. That Hellion did seemingly go away, fortunately, although it came back. My bot's also just programmed to build 5 mutas. That's another hard cap in it. Checking corners, so these guys are stuck down here for some reason. But I guess the moral of the story in this game is just that, like, bot matches are super, super messy. And that there's so many little things you gotta take into account. Like, I don't think either me or the developer of Mecha Shark had this in mind when it came to programming their bots. Like a single muta killing off a ton of SCVs. And yeah, it is just a mess. I don't know why these mutas are in this corner. I don't know why this hatchery is here. My bot is still spamming. That one's pretty clear to solve. So I just have the sound off for now. But yeah, we'll just keep cruising, fast forwarding through this game, and eventually it should end. Command centers are flying around for Mecha Shark. My mutas are still doing work, but it's just because my bot just stopped building lings. It's also got a bug, seemingly. Well, pardon me, this isn't actually a bug, this is a feature. I just programmed my bot to build drones very, very slowly. And oh my gosh, it's building 5 hatcheries at a time. Why? Why must you build so many hatcheries, Crawler? I wonder how many it'll build in this game. It really I don't know why this spot in particular either. Like, is it because it's kind of between a bunch of different bases? But yep, Crawler's just doing its thing. A drone is trying to get in here. 2 drones are trying to get in here. This is another thing I need to fix with unit pathing, is to have my bot actually like path with units properly, because right now if there's a solid wall on top of a ramp, the units will like run into a corner here. And yeah, there's a lot of different things that could be done to improve Crawler, particularly in situations like this, but at least it's got the general behavior that kind of works. The mutas eventually won this game, that in order to help kill off the flying buildings. So that is a task successful. Seems like it was waiting to get the 5 mutas into the corner before it started flying around and searching for whatever's left. A way to address that I'm going to change in the future is just to have it so that my bot, prior to doing the grid search, attacks any visible structures on the map, which shouldn't be too hard to make happen. Yeah, it definitely is a messy thing programming the bot, and you guys can too. I really recommend Drekken's guide down below. I hope this video hasn't been too boring. Yeah, I'll actually go ahead and see if I can pull up Crawler's page on the AI arena just for the fun of it. Let me just see, studio mode. That's not right. Ba-doop, boop, boop. Okay, here is this. This is Crawler's main page. Yeah, just LaughNgamez. I made it on April 9th. Of course, it's much later by the time this video uploads, but lots of updates, lots of games based off Drekken's Ling Guide. I'll leave a description in that, and the Versus AI starter setup that is also created by Drekken, I believe, programmed using Windsurf. A lot of AI and Cascade, speed mining adapted from Sharpie. I think it's important to credit where credit is due. It's a Python bot. And yeah, I hope you guys didn't mind this rambly mess. I wasn't sure what the best way to create... Oh my gosh, I'm so silly. I put myself in studio mode, but I didn't click the transition. There is, there's that info if you guys want to read that real quick. But, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this bit of an odd video. It just goes to show that it takes a long time for my bot to win certain games or lose them, but at least it doesn't end in a tie anymore, like I was having that problem before. And yeah, so the ties are solved for the most part. When a tie pops up on the match history, it kind of perks my ears up. If you guys do want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube member. That goes a long way as far as, I don't know, even getting like an SC2AI account so I can run custom games to cast and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll definitely keep working on Crawler. I think my goal is probably just to make the bot be more well-rounded. And that'll definitely take a lot of time. My logic is to solve like the Starcraft problems, like the big logistical ones, like not having games end in ties. Playing around with unit compositions and that kind of thing afterwards is going to be an afterthought. And then there's just little bits to add on by little bits. I hope you guys enjoyed this longer rambly video. But yeah, if you did, click the like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe. Check out Drekken's guide if you want to try making a bot. I have no idea how to program, but Windsurf is a very powerful IDE with the AI that's built into it. They've actually got a pretty generous free trial as well. And it's crazy. You can literally just ask the AI to solve problems and code for you. And then you can review the code and go over it and say, like, yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like a horse, though. You got to prevent it from bolting out of the barn sometimes because AI likes to take certain liberties that you need to restrain when you've got a goal in mind. But yeah, there's lots of things that I need to improve on my bot. Like, for example, have the extractor, like, have it mine more than just one extractor. Right now it's just programmed to literally build one and no more. If that extractor dies, it'll probably try and rebuild it, but when it eventually runs out of gas in that one extractor, no more gas for me. So say I'd lost all these mutas and spent my 900 gas, this game would have ended in a draw. I mean, it's going to be rarer for something like that to happen, but it's little things you need to take into account. So I'll probably try and have better gas resource management in the future, the more macro modes, that kind of thing. And then, yeah, I hope this has provided a little bit of insight into programming bots here. I can even pull up my absolute messy AI code. This code has been programmed largely by an AI, kind of just reviewed by me, with me giving it prompts and sort of telling it what to do. There is lots of things to take into account. But, yes, here we are. And yeah, this is the code for it. There's basically 3 stages in a game: on game start, throughout the game, and then there is certain things you can run at the end of the game, like which I do, so that at the end of the game I record the stats of what happens, like whether I won the game, whether I lost the game, so I can do things with that data down the line. This isn't the only Python file for my bot. There's many more. It's not efficient programming at all, but for someone that doesn't program, I think it's going all right. I'm just going to keep working on it. Then eventually I'll have to overhaul the whole thing in the future. But yeah, if you guys are interested in this kind of thing, join the Discord, join the SC2AI Discord, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.